Hi guys, hope you're having a great evening. It's Sheila and Fred with Hatfield McCoy Museum and Adventures and FS Investigates.
Hey guys, thanks for joining us. We I don't think this video will be very long. It may be interesting to some of you. Some of you may not. Some of you may never get pulled over. Some of you may know what to do if you get pulled over, and
Mm-hmm.
some of you may not care. So now, this day and time, I'll tell you what, you might better care, because this day and time it appears that when you get pulled over, there's about a 50% chance you're gonna get the crap beat out of you or tased or something. The more videos I watch, the more
Mm-hmm.
research I do on my channel, Fred McCoy 40,
Uh-huh.
the more I realize that. Of course, we've always had. Let me turn this coffee off, guys.
Yep, sorry. There we go. We'll drink this water.
Sorry about that. Um, the more I realize that it's getting more and more ridiculous
Uh-huh.
out there. Contempt of cop is running rapid. This video is going to be on what to do if you're pulled over by the police. That's
Okay.
that's a simple question. Most people says, "Well, I'm going to skip this video." Well, I was a police officer for 40 years.
Mm-hmm.
Might be able to tell you a couple of things here that might get you out of a ticket, might get you, keep you from getting beat down, or the different things that may happen. And
Okay.
and again, after you watch the video, you may say it didn't help me a bit. I don't know. Always have your registration and insurance together in an envelope, guys. We all do this. We get our insurance card in,
Mm-hmm.
and we leave it in the house, or we leave it somewhere. We forget to put it in the car, and then we get pulled over and we're looking at. We've got 15 insurance cards, but none of them's up to date. Now, a common sense officer would look at 15 insurance cards. Here's one for December to December. Here's one next year from December. Here's one for,
They're in
and
order.
in order. And all of a sudden, you don't have this year's. Common sense police officer would say, "Well, if you've got all these insurance cards here, surely you've got insurance." But everybody don't have common sense nowadays. Put your insurance card and your registration receipt together. Keep them over your sun visor or in your glove compartment, or
Someplace
somewhere where
handy.
you know where they're at, where you can get to them. I always tell people, used to be, we'd tell them to put them over their sun visor. That way you don't have to get in your glove compartment. Glove compartment's protected by the Fourth Amendment from illegal search and seizures. Your glove compartment is considered an extension
Mm-hmm.
of your home. And back in the old days, before we had constitutional carry, or we had carry concealed permits, you could leave your gun in the glove compartment. As long as you didn't open your glove compartment, then the officer can't look. He don't know if you've got anything in there or not. Nowadays, you've got constitutional carry, so most people carries their guns on their sides or somewhere in their console, somewhere near, close by. Keep your registration and insurance handy. Make sure both are up to date.
Yeah.
Stop as soon as safely possible. When you see, Sheila, join in anytime if you see anything that I'm leaving out. But
Okay.
um, when you see blue lights behind you, guys, I can tell you a few things that I know what worked for me. When I put the blue lights on somebody, or I was going the opposite direction and I flipped around on them
Mm-hmm.
and I hit my brake lights or whatever, they automatically just pulled over and waved on me. They knew I was coming after them.
Right.
You want to get a ticket for sure, just keep on driving. Keep on driving like you don't know he's back there. Keep on driving like, oh, he can't be after me. It must have been somebody else, especially if you know he's after you,
Mm-hmm.
that you were doing. Most people, when you see a cop, I was a cop and we would be on vacation or somewhere. I'd meet a cop. First thing I do is hit my brake and look at my speedometer, because
Yep.
that's
Yep.
what you do. You're going to look at your speedometer. So you know
How fast?
whether you was going too fast or not. If it's not time and you're a female, drive slowly and drive to a populated or business district where there's cameras at.
Mm-hmm.
Try to find a store or something where you can pull over where there's cameras. You're a female. It's only it's only for safety purposes that you would want to do that. It's not. There's people out there that's got blue lights
Mhm.
that's not police officers. Anybody can buy these things,
Mhm.
buy them at a flea market. Don't want your car, pull somebody over, and they're assaulted. So put your emergency flashers on and drive on to a populated area or to an area that's got cameras.
Okay.
If you can't stop immediately, put your emergency flashers on, reduce your speed. Don't go the same speed, don't speed up. Reduce your speed, emergency flashers. He'll understand that you're looking for a place to, to pull over that's safe.
That's a good idea.
As you're stopping, roll down your driver's side window so he can see you or she. Most come to the driver's side. If you're on the interstate, may come to the passenger side. I've got a couple of stories here to tell you. If you're on a country road and you get off
Right.
the road good enough,
Mhm.
he'll probably come to the driver's side.
Yeah, if it's
If you're on
safe
the
enough.
interstate, there's a lot of traffic, he'll go to the passenger side. Now, here's you another key. First one is pull over. As soon as you see him hit his brake lights, as soon as you see him turn on you, as soon as you see blue lights behind you, pull over. I used to have people tell me, they'd say, I didn't know you was after me. Well, pull over so I can
Okay.
go get the one I'm after. Why
Mm.
wouldn't you? If you didn't know I was after you, why wouldn't you still pull over, get off the roads where I can go on by you? See, so that doesn't hold water. So number one is pull over when you see them. Second of all, if you want a break from a lot of police officers, imagine if a person's going to be that courteous to a police officer that they're concerned about his safety so much that they pull way off the highway, way off the emergency lane. So he's got plenty of room here. Because see, I've had people before, they park right on the yellow line, right on the marker line,
Wow.
right on the white line,
Mhm.
not on the yellow, but on the white line, the marker, shoulder marker. And they think, well, if I park right on the marker line, he has to stand out in the highway and worry about traffic. He's not going to take the time to write me a ticket. He'll give me a warning and let me go. That's not going to happen. All the officer's going to do is walk to the passenger side where it's safe, and you can
Mhm.
bet you're going to get a citation because they know what you're doing. They also know what you're doing when you get way off the road and show them some common courtesy so they won't get hit by a car. So that's the second time. If you want out of a ticket, I'm not saying it gets you every time, but it may be the time. I know how it worked for me. If a person was that courteous to me, maybe I can show the same courtesy by asking them to slow down or whatever it was they were doing and send them on their way. I've got all kinds of stories, 40 years, but one of them is I went up, it's called a curtain of light. When you pull up behind a police officer pulls up behind somebody, if you'll put your spotlight right here in the corner of their car, right there,
Mhm.
you can split your light between this panel right here,
Yeah.
the rear view mirror, and the rear side mirror. If you'll put your spotlight right there, it can split and it goes into the side mirror and it goes into the rear view mirror. It's called a curtain
Really?
of light. They can't see what's going on behind them. You can see them good. They're lit up,
Ah, that's
but
smart.
you can't see the officer. Now, a lot of times an officer, if he's by himself and it's late at night or it's dangerous, or you'll open your car door, you'll get out, you'll shut your car door, open it, shut it again if you're by yourself. That makes that person in that car or those people in that car think there's two officers. Whoa, there's two of them. If there's two of you and you get out of your car, you try to shut your car doors
Together.
together. So you're thinking, oh,
One.
there's only one officer. Because see, while that one's coming up to your driver's side,
He's watching
the
you
other one
more,
is standing on the passenger side
looking
at the
in.
doorpost. And he's just standing there. You don't even know he's there until you reach over to get in the glove compartment or Your passenger looks around, all of a sudden they scream because he spooks them, he
Oops.
scares them. Where'd you come from?
I didn't hear that door.
And it gives them a shock. Now, if an officer's by himself and you're parked on the marker line or you didn't get, it's not safe for him to stand there, he goes around, he's not going to break that curtain of light. You're watching through your mirror, you don't see nothing but lights. But all of a sudden, if you see that curtain of lights on you and you see something go by it,
Mhm.
you know he just walked between the cars and he's coming up on the passenger side. So what an officer will do if he's by himself and he's thinking safety or getting off the road or
Mhm.
going to sneak up on you, he will shut his car door and he walks behind his car. He'll walk behind the police car. He'll
Still
come
be
up
there.
to your passenger side and we'll stand there behind the doorpost and we're watching to see what you're doing. Stories on top of stories on top of stories. Got a guy one time and he's taking his Bible and he puts his Bible over here where I could see it on his dashboard. He wanted to turn that Bible. He's looking in his mirror and he's putting that Bible up there to tell
Wow.
me when I did pick on the passenger window, he saw me, tells me he's a minister. That's great. I'm
Mhm.
glad he is. But God says, obey the law of the land. Another one, seen a lady and she's watching in the mirror and she's unbuttoning the top button to her blouse. I'm going to tell you something about Fred, and it ain't just Fred, it's a lot of officers out there. If you want a ticket from Fred, flirt or do anything out of the way, and because I'm more scared of this one than I am doing something wrong, and you was more apt to get a ticket from Fred from that than anything because I didn't want that person to think for a moment,
Mhm.
oh, I showed him some boob and he gave me a break. No, probably the better looking they was when they acted like that, the bigger ticket they got. Just so I could show that you got the wrong guy. That's not me. And that's not a way to get a break. And then another time or two or four, 10, you'll see them putting a gun underneath their leg or taking their gun and putting down between the seats,
Hiding it.
something like that. And you're sitting there at the passenger side because they're looking through the rear view mirror trying to see you coming up on them while they're doing this. And there you are standing right there watching everything they're doing.
Smart.
So, well, that's how some people live a long career in law enforcement by little things like this.
Mhm.
Always pull as far off the road as possible so the officer is not placed in danger. Maybe he'll take that into consideration between writing the ticket and giving you a warning. I know I always did. Once the vehicle is stopped, start your camera, not while driving. You know, I never thought I'd say this as a police officer, but guys, the safest thing you can have nowadays is not a gun,
Mhm.
it's a camera.
Yep.
It's a camera. Put you either a camera in your car, $39 from Amazon,
Yeah, work
back
off.
and front,
Mhm.
shows driving down the road, has a camera on you and your passenger
Yeah.
or anything else that goes on in your car.
Mhm.
Um, your telephone. Take that little suction cup, put it up on your windshield, put your phone up there on the magnet. You get pulled over, start recording. It's not going to hurt. He's supposed to have a body camera. Hopefully he does.
Right.
Hopefully everybody has body cameras nowadays, but they get turned off, they get knocked off,
Things happen.
they get blocked while the person's talking or while he's doing something.
Mhm.
So a good cop, a good honest cop doesn't mind a person taping them.
That covers everyone.
It's for their protection as well as yours.
Mhm.
Uh, a good officer doesn't mind you taping them. Don't try to set your camera or turn it on while you're driving down the road because you're going to weave, and when you weave, it's going to be on his dash cam,
Oh.
and that's definitely going to be reckless driving. There's going to be his PC, his probable cause for writing you a ticket, arresting you.
Mhm.
Here in Kentucky, reckless driving is an arrestable offense. You can write a ticket, but you can also be arrested for it.
Yeah.
Don't do it until you stop your car and then start your camera. Try to do it as fast as you can so you're not fumbling around while this officer's approaching your vehicle. Because when he starts approaching your vehicles, you either want to put your hands out the window or on top of the steering wheel. See, in 40 years, I never had nobody shoot at me with their feet. As long as a police officer can see a person's hands, we feel safe. And when you stick them little hands out the window there and he can see those two hands and he's walking up on that vehicle,
Hmm.
he feels safe. So now you've stopped. As soon as you saw him, you got way off the road so he don't get hit by a car. And now you're sticking your hands out the window so he doesn't get anxiety or stressed out because he don't know what he's walking up on. I know people think that cops, oh, they have no fear. They have no fear. Those are the toughest people. Bull crap. Cops have as much fear and get just as scared as anybody else.
Well, they're just as human as everybody. I mean, they're human, so that's your
And they
reaction.
try to hide it. They try to hide it with this mentality of bulliness. They try to hide. If you're going to write, it's hard to write somebody a ticket when you walk up there and the person's smiling and how you doing, sir? And it's hard to write that person a ticket. But if you can get them to be mean, if you can get them to smart off, if you can get them to, then you don't mind writing a ticket as bad. Now you now you enjoy writing a ticket. Oh, they was a butthole, so I wrote him two tickets. That's what you got. Be as nice as you can, as polite as you can, and do it for as long as you can, because he may just be pulling a test on you to see what kind of personality you got. This thing called contempt of cop has gone crazy in this day and age. Place both hands on the steering wheel or out the window. Outside the window, preferably. Hopefully, the officer is appreciative of that and you get a warning instead of a ticket. I'm not saying this
Mhm.
always works. Y'all
Right.
going to try this someday and somebody going to write you a ticket and you're going to say, Fred McCoy, that blind dog. But I know how I was.
Yeah.
Nowadays, it may keep you from getting shot or beat down. It ain't just getting out of a ticket. Forget the ticket nowadays.
Tased.
Yeah, nowadays you better worry about getting tased, getting shot, or getting beat up. I don't know what's going on. I can't. Uh, I don't understand it. After the officer approaches, let him speak first. The worst thing you can do if you want a ticket, as the officer gets close to your car, look back and say, "What'd you stop me for? What'd I do?"
Mm-mm.
If you do that, you're going to get a ticket. That's it. Just be calm. Hands out the window. How you doing, officer? My name's so and so. Stopped you for running that stop sign. Stopped you for rolling through that stop sign. Stopped you for speeding. Stopped you. Now it's up to you how you want to. Did you roll through the stop sign? Were you speeding? If you were, don't deny it, because when you deny it, that's contempt of cop. He saw you do something
Mm-hmm.
and he's saying you done it. You're saying you didn't do it. Now, if you didn't do it, that's fine. Cops are not perfect. We make mistakes. Sometimes cops like activity and they'll get activity ever how they can. It's sad, but it's true. In 40 years, I've seen a lot of things and
Hmm.
heard a lot of things.
I'm sure you have.
So when he says you were speeding, I'm sorry, officer. I was. I'll slow down. You rode through that stop sign. Sorry, officer. Yeah, I should have stopped. I should have come to a complete stop. I won't let that happen again. And you may get out of a ticket. But if you did, you're the only one that knows it. You're driving. If you were speeding and you say, no, officer, I wasn't speeding, you're lying.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to get a ticket because he knows whether you was or not. If you rode through the stop sign and you say, no, I didn't, I stopped, then you're lying. See, you're not going to get nowhere. Nobody ever tells the police the truth. They lie to us all the time. So we get so tired of people lying that when somebody tells you the truth, it's so refreshing. You
Probably
say,
throws you
hey,
in shock.
hey, sometimes it does. Hey, give you a break. Don't do that anymore. Speak, smile, and be polite. If you have a weapon on you or in easy reach, Tell the officer now. Secondary may see you, but you won't see him. If you have a permit, if you have a weapon, if you have one on your persons or beside your seat or in your glove compartment or wherever,
Mm-hmm.
this is the time. Officer, I'm carrying. Officer, I have a permit.
There you go.
Officer, I have protection. The one thing you don't ever want to tell a cop when he's walking up to your car or while he's standing there is,
Gun. I have a gun.
Officer, I've got a gun. Because he's not going to hear the part where Officer he's going to hear
Yeah.
gun. I've got a gun. And for a police officer, they take that as a threat. Are you telling
Mm-hmm.
him I've got a gun? I'm going to use it? Are you see they don't we don't comprehend when we hear somebody say gun, and it's a whole lot better for you to tell the officer, Officer, I've got protection. Officer, I'm carrying. Officer, I've got a permit.
Mm-hmm.
He'll know what you mean.
Mm-hmm.
It's a whole lot better for that than it is that guy up there standing at that passenger side of that vehicle. Right there.
Mm-hmm.
It's better to tell the one on the driver's side than for that one on the passenger side to look down and see
And then
a
he'll
gun
holler a gun.
somewhere near you, and then he hollers and tells the other officer, gun. Because when he says gun, this officer thinks you're going for the gun. I've got a permit. I'm carrying. I'm protected. Not, I've got a gun. Do not say I've got a gun.
Right.
He will only hear gun, as we expect the worst. Never call your gun a gun. Tell him you have a permit and carrying protection. He'll know what you mean. He will tell you what to do with your weapon, if anything at all. Guys, I'm going to tell you 40 years of permits, 40 years of being a police officer.
Sorry.
Uh, when I walk up there after carry concealed started in Kentucky in 1996, I walk up to a vehicle and the person tells me I've got a permit or I'm carrying. He tells me he's got a permit. You know what that tells me about this person right off the bat before I ever run his driver's license? Tells me he's not a convicted felon.
Mm-hmm.
Tells me he's not been dishonorably discharged from the military. Tells me he doesn't have a domestic violence filed against him in the last 3 years. He tells me he doesn't have two DUIs. He may have one, but he don't have two, because if you get two DUIs, Kentucky pulls your permit. Tells me he doesn't have an EPO.
Mm-hmm. Mentally disturbed.
Tells me he's 21 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, babe. I knew there's another one. He's not mentally disturbed. You okay, baby?
Yeah, I don't know what it is. Sorry, guys.
Um, he's not mentally disturbed, because if you're any of those things, it disqualifies you from
Mm-hmm.
having a permit. So all these younger police officers back in the old days, when everybody first started getting their permits, they would pull somebody over with a permit and they'd holler, he's got a permit. He's got a permit. Well, good.
Okay.
Good. It tells you he's not a convicted felon. He's not dishonorably discharged. He's 21 years old. He don't have domestic violence. Don't have two DUIs. Don't have an assault charge in the last 3 years. Look what it tells an officer about that person, just because he's carrying that little card, that little permit. Already tells me. So when he tells me I've got a permit and I'm carrying,
Mm-hmm.
my question always was, where did you get your gun at?
Mm-hmm.
Where did you get your weapon at? And if he says Dick's, if he says so and so at a store, Walmart, okay. If he says flea market, if
Mm-hmm.
he says a buddy of mine, then I'll say, yeah, if you don't care, let me see the gun. Go ahead and reach it to me, or you can reach and get it, whatever you want. But if he's carrying a permit, he's a law-abiding citizen. He's met the requirements for getting a permit. So that tells me that he's a pretty decent person.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the reason I take the gun is I'm gonna run a 29 on that gun. I'm gonna run and see if that gun's stolen through the computer, NCIC. Dispatch will run that serial number, make, model, blue, uh, chrome, pearl handles, wood handles, whatever you've got there, nickel plated. and it'll tell you, no stolen. Okay, here's your gun back.
Mhm.
Now, if he tells me he bought that gun from Dick's or somewhere, a store, then that's fine. That gun's registered. He bought it. He knows it's not stolen. But when you buy a gun from a flea market or off somebody else, you don't know where that gun come from or where somebody else got it from.
Mhm.
So when you buy a new gun off somebody, you should always call dispatch. You should always have a police officer run up on somebody and say, "Hey, you care to run this gun for me? You care to run it and see if it's stolen? Here's my serial number. Here's my." You don't go up and pull your gun out. Go up and give them the serial number and the make and
Yeah.
model.
Didn't you run one once before for a guy
Oh Lord, yeah.
that was stolen?
Oh yeah, yeah. That was at the fire department. The one you're talking about, though, that's
Mhm.
people we knew.
Yeah.
No way they would have ever stolen a gun, but they were getting a divorce, him and her, and she come to the fire department going to sell a gun, and one of the guys was going to buy the gun,
Mhm.
and I asked her, "Where'd you get that gun at, or where did your husband?" I called her by name and
Mhm.
him by name,
Mhm.
and she said he got it at the flea market in Somerset. I told the guy going to buy it, I said, "You may want to run that, make sure it's not stolen." He said, "Well, you care to do that for me?" And I said, "No." And I called dispatch and run this gun. They run it, come back stolen. Come back stolen. It had actually, that's the one that belonged to the New York State Trooper.
Yeah. Yeah.
Belonged to a New
They
York State.
broke into his car or
Somebody
something.
had broke into a car in New York, busted
Mhm.
out the window, stole this trooper's gun out of his glove compartment, his private vehicle.
Mhm.
It'd been stolen. It'd been gone for 5 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
That gun was recovered. Of course, it had a hit on it. It notified New York, notified him. He contacted us, mailed the gun to him, UPS'd it, got his gun back. Her and her husband lost their gun, but
Right.
that's where they should have had the serial numbers run before they bought it at the flea market. Or guys, I'll tell you what, do when you're at a flea market and you're buying a gun.
Mhm.
Here's a good telltale, or a gun show anywhere, and you pick up a gun and I like this. How much you want for it? And the guy tells you, you say, "Yeah, I'm gonna buy this gun, but if you don't care first, I'm gonna call 911 and see if they'll run it for me and make sure it's not stolen." Now, if that guy says, "Whoa, whoa, here, I'm that gun's not for sale any longer," then you may want to go ahead and call 911. Say, "You may want to send an officer up here. I think I just found a stolen gun."
Mm.
Or if the guy says, "Yeah, go ahead, you can run it,"
Yeah.
then you'll know the gun's probably safe to buy. Got off on a different topic, but I'm known for
Like
that.
your stories,
I'm known
though.
for that.
They said they liked your stories.
It's a good, decent person, law-abiding citizen, or he wouldn't have spent the money to get his gun permit
He did it the right
or
legal way.
spent the time in class.
That's
Right,
right.
Sheila?
That's right.
Don't argue with the officer. Take the ticket or break and go. Nowadays, be glad it's not a beatdown. Guy said I deserve a ticket or a lecture, but not both.
Yeah.
I pulled a guy over one time and he'd run through an intersection or done something. It was silly. Could have been a bad wreck. I pulled him over. I said, "I can't believe you just went through that intersection." I've got this problem personality. People thinks I'm ruder than I am, I guess. I don't see myself as being rude sometimes, but I can see how they can take it.
Yeah.
And I told this guy, I said, "I can't believe you went through that intersection like that. You almost caused an accident." All this and that. And I lectured him there for a minute or so. And he looked at me and he said, "Officer, I'll take a ticket. I'll take a lecture, but I don't think I deserve both.
He sure did.
I
Yeah.
don't think I have to take both." And I stood there and I said, "Buddy, you're exactly right." And I said, "You've had the lecture. Be careful and try not to do that no more." And that was it. And that was years and years and years ago.
Mhm.
And it come to the point, I've told this story before, but I'll ask people when I walk up to the car, I say, "You want the citation or you want the lecture?" I never ever heard nobody say, I'll take the citation, I'll take the ticket. They always said
Mm-mm.
a lecture.
Lecture's fine.
My brother and different people always said they don't know you or they just go ahead and take the ticket. It wasn't about being mean. It wasn't about giving tickets. It's about trying to save lives. You think you're actually saving lives. Some of us out there actually thought we were saving lives. Some of them are in these contests to see how many tickets they can write. to see if they can get the governor's award, see if they can win a radar detector unit. If he says he's writing you a ticket and it's for speeding, and you honestly feel like you are not, ask him if you can see the radar. If you know he's going to write you a ticket,
Won't that make you mad though? If
without
you,
a doubt, he's going to write you a ticket anyway, babe.
yeah,
He's writing you a ticket. I'll be
yeah.
right back. I'm going to be writing you a citation for speeding. And you know he's writing you a citation
Mhm.
because if you ask for that and he's on the line and you start asking that, if you can see the radar, then you can bet you're going to get a ticket because that's contempt of cop. It's your right, but it's contempt of cop. Now, if this officer says, no, you can't see my radar. I've got other things in my car. I got a computer in my car. I don't care about your computer. I just want to look at the radar. I just want to see your radar. And if he says no, then you make a note of that. Hopefully you got your camera on because
Mhm.
there shouldn't be no reason if it's safe out on the road, if there's not a lot of traffic or you can do it safely, he should let you see the radar. Now I'm going to tell you something about seeing the radar. If he says no, which is he probably will, just make a note for court. Even if he shows you the radar, remember this, it may not be your speed.
Ooh.
Even if you see the radar, say you know that you were not speeding. You look straight down at your
Beyond a shadow of a
speedometer
doubt.
and you know you weren't speeding. And he tells you you're going this astronomical speed and you're thinking this no way, it wasn't me. Well, you need to go get your speedometer checked and get it calibrated and make sure that it was tested. But ask to see the radar. And if he says no, then what's the problem? Why can't you see the radar? Because it's locked in. If he got you speeding, it would be locked in on his dashboard. Now, if he says, yeah, come on back here and look, and you look at the radar and it says ridiculous speed, and you're thinking, there's no way I was doing that speed. I wasn't. That means that could have been a different vehicle. That could have been a traffic stop earlier. So when you go to court, you want to subpoena all traffic stops that he made on that day and see if anybody else was written a ticket for the exact same speed that he
Hmm.
just showed you the radar for. What's the chances of stopping two of you, especially within that 20
Time
minute,
frame.
30-minute range, whatever it was? Guys, I'm sorry to say it. I'm sorry to say it because I spent 40 years doing it, but it's turning out that cops are not some of your most credible and honest people. It really is. I learned that at a young age. I thought police officers was supposed to be, and I learned that real fast in a career. If you ask him after he writes the citation, he's going to say he's already reset the radar. Now, if he goes back there, he tells you, I'm going to write you a citation. I'll be with you in a minute. And you don't ask him to see the radar, and then he comes back, he gives you a citation, then you say, yes, sir, can I see the radar? He's going to say, no, I've already reset it. After I write the citation, I reset my radar.
Then what? There's nothing you can do.
Then there's nothing you can do. You've
Okay.
got to take the man at his word. So ask to see, after all pleasantries are done, and he's starting his car to write the ticket, ask him if you can see the radar nicely. If he has a body camera on, uh, state your disapproval. If you don't think you were going a certain speed, if you
Mhm.
don't think you rode through a stop sign, be nice, be courteous. But if he's got a body camera on or you've got your camera on, go ahead. It's okay to state your disapproval, officer. We'll just have to agree to disagree because I don't agree with you on what you're saying. I didn't roll through that stop sign. I wasn't speeding. You've made the point. You've said it. It's on camera. It's on tape for court. Let it go. You don't have to. You're not going to debate it out there on the street. You're not going to
And
win.
that's probably what he'll say to you, though.
You're not going to win on the street. Some of them will say that.
Hmm.
I would say, I'll see you in court. That's what the court's for. But there's some that takes that as contempt, and you'll see them pull out, go to Fred McCoy 40, pull out their pepper spray, spray the driver, get out of there. You're under arrest. You're going. It's called contempt of cop. Now, the legal
Jeez.
term for that is disorderly conduct or menacing. It's contempt of cop. You're challenging him or his what he's saying.
Law.
If guilty, take the ticket and be on your way. It's real
Nicely,
simple.
yeah.
If you are guilty and you know it, just admit it, apologize, and say you'll do better. Cops are so accustomed to people arguing and lying, it's refreshing when someone actually tells us the truth. So the truth may
Set you free.
just set you free. Do not contempt of cop, not the time or the place on the side of the road. You're not going to win. And especially if he doesn't have a body camera on or he has a supervisor or a commissioner or a sheriff
Mm-hmm.
that doesn't hold him to the fire and make sure he's professional,
Mm-hmm.
then you're not going to win. Make your disapproval known, let it go. Remember,
Doggies.
I was going to play that here. I fought the law and the law won. Remember that song?
Yeah.
If you've never heard that, Google, I fought the law and the law won. It's an old 60s or 50s song, but cops have heard all the excuses, guys. Most women, most unusual.
It was the
Not
convenience
everybody,
store.
the cops have heard every excuse you could ever come up with. I thought I had heard them all. Everybody's always got to use the bathroom. You got diarrhea, you got this, you got that. I chased a woman one time coming off the hill there on 127, run down to the convenience store. I followed her into the convenience store. She jumps out of her car, runs back to me. I've got the blue lights on. I pulled right up to the door behind her. And she looks at me and she says, "Write me a ticket. I'll be right back. I've started my period and I've got to go." And she ran off into the store. And that's the first time in all those years I'd heard them say, "I got to use the bathroom. I've got to do this. I've got to." I had never heard somebody say, "I started my time of the month." And I sat there for a minute in shock. She run inside and went back toward the bathroom. And I put that little cruiser in reverse and I backed out there. I left because I'm just thinking I don't want her driver's license if she don't wash her hands when she's done. So I left. So if she pulled one on me, she got over because that was so shocking and so believable
Yeah.
because I can't see a woman actually doing that just to get out of a ticket. So if
Not
she did, she
me.
got out of it. Jumps out and says, "Write me a ticket. I'll be back. Got to go to the bathroom."
Oh,
And that was
wow.
it.
Wow.
If
Lord.
DUI
My
and field
rant.
sobriety test, ask him to do a demo test. There's DUIs out there where they ask you to get out, take some field sobriety tests.
Mm-hmm.
Ask the officer, "Would you demonstrate this test for me?" And when he gets to the test where he says, "Close your eyes and tilt your head back, touch your nose," tell him, say, "Can you demonstrate it for me?" When he does it, closes his eyes and tilts his head back, jump in your car and take off.
No, don't do that. I knew that's what you were supposed to
Did you
say.
really?
I knew you were supposed to say
I'm
so.
joking that, but he's not going to do that one. But the balance test, the toe to the
Mhm.
bumper,
Hold your foot up or whatever.
walking the
Yeah.
line and turn around, walking back. Some cops automatically do it. Most don't. Most won't demonstrate for you. So ask him. Ask him to demonstrate. "Can you demonstrate this test for me and show me what I'm supposed to do?" Let him do it. Let's see how well the officer can do these tests, especially if he's not used to doing it and he's nervous. Because, see, you're also nervous at this time.
Shoot,
People get nervous when the police stop them.
I'd be shaking like a leaf in the wind.
I'm a cop and I get pulled over when we go on vacation or something. Everybody gets heavy footed. You're in a hurry to go somewhere or do something. You get nervous. Demonstrate walk and turn, toe to the bumper, balance test. He may be shocked and as nervous as you are. Never argue with the cop on the side of the road. Keep cool.
Mhm.
Voice your disapproval for the camera. Take it to court. Hire you a good lawyer and take him to court. 3 things that get you out of a ticket faster than anything. Stop as soon as he sees you,
Mhm.
but don't pretend that you didn't see that officer. Get as far off the road as possible. Let him see that you're thinking about his safety. Hands in plain view. Let him relax, no anxiety.
Yeah.
If guilty, admit it. Apologize. will be more careful and attentive. If he gives you a break, fine. If not, you still did a good deed. Some people are just buttholes. If you
Ahead
still
you.
agree, hire an attorney. Remember, a good attorney knows the law. A great attorney knows the judge.
If you still disagree, yeah.
Yeah, if you still just what I say, agree.
Agree. Mm-hmm.
Trick questions. Do you know how fast you were going? Boy, this turned into a long video.
Yeah, it's 40 some minutes.
Sorry, guys. They know they can turn them off when they want, but trick questions. Do you know how fast you were going? Is he asking you that to see if you're going to tell him the truth, or is he asking you that because forgot to turn his radar on and he's going to see what you say? Yeah, I was going 63. I was going 67. Okay. Well, you're in a 55, so I'm going to write you for 67. I'm going to write you for,
Yeesh.
I'm going to go ahead and write you for what you're admitting to. Well,
Mm.
the question is, do you? Do you know how fast you were going? Officer could be fishing or could just be seeing what you're going, if you're going to tell the truth or not. Officer ask you, didn't you see the speed limit sign back there? And you say, yes, officer, I saw the sign. I just didn't see you. Curtain of lights, walk behind the car. All right, guys, I think that's going to do us. I don't know if this will help any of you or not. I hope it
Hope it
does.
will. Yeah.
Um, I don't know what to tell you about police officers anymore. I'm really disappointed in
Yeah.
police
I
officers and
understand
what's
that.
happening in this world today. How the mentality of police has changed and how it's got so gladiator, so us against them and them against
Oh,
us, and why we can't treat each other like humans and
yeah.
decent. I
Hmm.
mean, these are the people I'm seeing get beat downs on these videos are decent people. These are not bank robbers. These are not pedophiles. These are not people that's killed somebody or beat somebody. These
Hmm.
are people for regular seatbelt violations.
Violations. Yeah.
License plate light not on. Holy, and they're beating the crap out of them and tasing them. And thank you, guys.
Mhm.
Sheila, what you got? Did you even say anything today?
Yeah, I said a couple things.
Okay.
Uh,
You got any advice for them?
go slow. Take that foot off the gas pedal.
Yeah. God told me one time, he said, I was telling him how fast he was going or something. He said, this car, he said, it just does that. And I said, really? I said, I'm going to tell you what the problem is. He said, what's that? I said, it's that right foot over there. That right foot, if you'll bring it up some and not push down so hard, that car won't go so fast. But anyway, guys, thanks for joining us.
Yeah. Hope you're having a good night. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and share. We'll catch you on the next one. Bye. God bless. Don't speed.
Bye, guys.